For 50 years, I called that woman Mama. I buried her when I was 50. Sure, I had her memorized, and at 80 years old, I found out I never met her at all. My mother raised 5 of us alone after our father died young. This spring, when we finally sold the old house, I opened the cedar chest at the foot of her bed and found 40 years of diaries I never knew she kept. I have read every one now, and the woman who wrote them is a stranger to me, a stranger I called Mama my whole life. My name is Leon, and I'm 80. She was in every room of my childhood, and I never once saw her. If your mother's still living, or even if she's gone and you're sure you've got her figured, then sit with me a while. I found this out far too late. You may not have to. I only opened the chest to empty it for the estate sale. I figured I'd find quilts and mothballs and maybe your wedding things. Under the quilts there was a false bottom, and under that the diaries. And the very first one I opened, she was a young woman before any of us, and she had written this: "Got my letter today. I am accepted to the normal school in the fall. I am going to be a teacher." I read it out loud to the empty kitchen just to hear it be true. I sat down on the floor of that bedroom and I read it again. My mother was going to be a teacher. She had a letter. She had a fall she was planning, for that had nothing to do with my father or me or any of us. She never went. I did the arithmetic right there on the floor. The next spring, she married my father. 2 years after that, she had my brother, then me, then 3 more. And then my father died, and she was alone with all of us. And there was no normal school, and no fall, and no teaching. There was just supper, 5 times a day it must have felt like, for the rest of her life. I never knew there had been a letter. Here's the thing I have to sit with. It is not that I was a bad son. I called, I visited, I brought the grandkids, I carried her groceries and fixed her steps, and I loved her the way you love your mother, which is to say completely and without ever once looking directly at her. 'Cause to me she was never a person. She was Mama. She was the sound of the screen door and the smell of the kitchen and the hands, those red, cracked hands, always doing something for somebody. She was a function of my childhood, like weather. You do not wonder what the weather wanted to be when it grew up. I never asked her a single real question, not one, in 50 years. I never said, "Mama, what did you want to be?" I never said, "Were you happy?" I never said, "Who were you before you were ours?" It never occurred to me that there was a before. It never occurred to me that the tired woman frying my eggs had once read an acceptance letter out loud to an empty kitchen just to hear it be true. I thought she was simple. She was not simple. She was buried. And I helped bury her, a plate at a time, and called it being a good son. My sister Ada tried to tell me. Ada was the one who sat with her, who actually listened, and she'd say to me, "Leon, you should hear the stories Mama tells." And I'd say, "What stories?" Because to me, Mama didn't have stories. Mama had chores. And Alma herself, she tried in the small ways a woman like that allows herself. She'd start to say something at the sink, some memory. "You know, before I met your father, and I'd already be halfway out the door with my keys saying, 'Tell me later, Ma, I'm late.' There was always a later until there wasn't. It is in the diary, that too, an entry from when I was a grown man with kids of my own. She wrote, 'Leon came by. He is a good boy. He fixed the gutter and he would not sit down. I had the coffee on. I wanted to tell him about my sister and the summer we picked cotton, but he had to get back. That is all right. They all have to get back. They all have to get back.' She wrote that like it was the weather, too. So here's the thing it took me 80 years in a cedar chest to understand. There is your mother and there is the woman your mother was, and they are not the same person, and most of us never meet the second one. We are born into the middle of somebody's life, and we mistake the part we can see for the whole of it. We think the mother is the beginning. She is not. She is somebody's daughter who had a letter once, and dreams that had nothing to do with us, and a whole self she set down the day we needed feeding. A mother can disappear right in front of her children, one sacrifice at a time, and be thanked for the meal. That is the quietest tragedy there is. Not that she gave it up. Mothers give things up. That is not news. It is that she did it so completely that we never even knew there had been anything to give. We grieved Mama when she died. Not one of us grieved Alma, the girl who was going to teach school, because not one of us knew she had ever existed. You cannot mourn a person you never let yourself meet. Now, I can hear some of you already because I said it to myself for 30 years. You're saying, but that is what mothers do. She chose it. She never complained. She seemed content. She'd have told you if she wanted something. That was her generation. They sacrificed. They didn't make a fuss about it. And you are not wrong exactly. She did choose us over and over, and there was real love in it, not just martyrdom. But here's the thing I know now. She never complained is not the comfort we pretend it is. It is the whole indictment. She never complained because she had learned by about age 30 that there was no one listening for a complaint, that her wants had no address to be mailed to. A woman doesn't go quiet because she has nothing to say. She goes quiet because she found out 100 small times that nobody was going to ask. We didn't earn her silence by making her content. We earned it by never once making room for her to be anything but Mama. I will tell you the page that put me flat on that bedroom floor. It is from 1962. She'd have been in her 40s, all 5 of us at home. My father 10 years dead. Her handwriting is tired, you can see it, the letter's gone loose. And she wrote, "Some nights I try to remember the girl who filled this chest. She was going to teach school. She had a whole life planned that had not one thing to do with anybody in this house. I don't grudge them a minute of it. I want that written down, I don't. But I would give a great deal if just one of them, one time, would ask me what I wanted before I forget I ever wanted anything at all. Before I forget I ever wanted anything at all. Not one of us ever asked. I want you to understand that." She left that request in a diary because there was nowhere else to put it, and she died without a single one of her 5 children ever asking her the question. She sat at our tables for another 30 years, and we passed her the potatoes, and nobody asked. She forgot she ever wanted anything. We helped her forget. So I've been doing the only things a man can do this late. I took that diary out to the cemetery, and I sat down in the grass by her stone, and I read her the entry out loud, the one about the girl who filled the chest, and then I asked her, 30 years too late, to a piece of granite, I said, "Mama, what did you want?" And of course there was no answer because I waited until the only person who could give me one was gone. But I asked. I finally asked. And then I went to find the one still here. I called my sister Ada and I said, "Tell me about Mama, not our mother, the woman, the one who picked cotton with her sister, the one who got the letter." And Ada, who is 78, cried because in 50 years I had never once asked her that either. We talked for 3 hours. I met my mother a little at last through my sister, and I went home to my wife Joan, and I sat down across from her, and I asked her the question I never asked my mother. Who were you before you were ours? So here's what I'm asking you to do this week, not someday. Someday is exactly how I lost my mother twice. If your mother's living, go and ask her, not how are you. Ask her the real one. Mama, who were you before us? What did you want? Was there a letter? And then sit down and take the coffee she offers, and do not get back to anything. Let her tell you. You will meet a person you have known your whole life and never once met. And if your mother's gone like mine, it's not too late to meet her either. Ask her sister, ask her friends while they're here. Find the diary, the photographs, the people who knew the girl. Grieve the whole woman, not just the role. She deserves to be more than mama in your memory. She was a person. Go and find out who. Do not wait until the only one who can answer is a stone. I'm 80 years old. My mother has been gone 30 years, and I met her this spring on the floor of the room where she slept, out of a chest she filled before I was ever thought of. It is the great sorrow of my life that I did it in that order. Don't do it in that order. The people who raised you were people first. Go and meet them while they can still tell you themselves. The chores will keep. The self they set down for you will not wait forever to be asked after. Down in the comments, I want you to do one thing. Tell me one thing about your mother that has nothing to do with you. A dream she had, a place she loved, the girl she was. If you don't know one, that is your answer. And this week is your chance to find out. I'm Leon. If your mother's still here, ask her who she was before she was yours, while there's still someone left to answer.